Hello and welcome to the STCfit Learning Podcast. I'll be your host today. My name is Jason Galea and I'll be joined by Ben Scott. Thanks for joining us on our way to creating 1 million positive outcomes in personal training by 2030. The podcast is brought to you by STCfit Learning's Coaches Collective, a premium business mentoring service for PTs who want to attract the clients they want, earn a higher income, and have a long, sustainable fitness career. If you enjoy the episode, please like, share, and subscribe on YouTube and your favorite podcasting platform. A 5-star review goes a long way to helping us reach more people just like you. Hope you enjoyed the episode. Light on in the ensuite, beaming through to the corner of the bedroom, fucking shower, hair dryer, walking around in the room. It's like a fucking bull in a china shop.
So that's 100% me, and Amy will attest to that. So Amy used to, when we first got together, she used to work the early shift at childcare centre. So I think she'd be there at 6:30 or something stupid like that. And she was like a fucking ghost, man. Clothes were all laid out in the ensuite the night before.
Yep.
Tiptoes through. Now I'm first up. And now I think it's the fucking stupidest thing in the world is not having a door on your ensuite.
Oh, man. It is.
So it's like
beyond stupid.
Yeah, fan on, light on, shower. The door's loud of the shower. It's I'm sorry, but this is.
There's a toilet in there too, right?
Yeah, so you have to, at night, you have to go.
Yeah, that's just beyond me. Even when we're looking at the houses, when we were thinking about building a house, it's it's just a thing to not have doors anymore.
Yeah, it's
not
dumb.
even have, but not even have where you could put a door.
Anything.
It's let's just put a bathroom here.
Open plan living, but in your bedroom.
Yeah. So I can take a shit and stare at my wife while she is sleeping.
Yeah,
that's fucking weird.
Yeah.
Man. Yeah.
So instead, you have to get up and at the moment put on Ugg boots. I actually stole Amy's dressing gown last night because it's hey, I gotta go, and I'm not doing it in the same room as you.
I'm pretty glad I don't really go to the toilet.
Me either usually, but
that extra coffee will get you.
It might have been that extra coffee.
That extra coffee will get you, mate. In more ways than one. Yeah, I don't have many things there's probably a fucking list. If Steph said, what's the things that fucking piss you off about me?
Yeah.
She'd be able to fucking roll them out.
She's probably already got them written down.
Oh, there'd be so many. There'd be so many. They'd just be all these little insignificant things though. But there'd just be so many. And then I just have 2.
Yeah, well, that's
good. Yeah, it's just turn into a ninja when you wake up.
Yeah.
And get ready, and it's and squeeze the toothpaste from the back.
Yeah, that's your thing, hey.
That's it. That's all I've got. And it's pretty hard for me to, people must sit there and be oh, he's got it pretty good. But it's for the first, I think 8 years, or no, how long I was doing PT for? So it was 10 years. I was I was always getting up first.
Yeah.
And it's clothes on the table, tiptoeing around the house, not opening the door, all this stuff is real silent. And then the last 18 months is just crash, bang. So now I'm just oh, fuck it, I'm up.
Yeah.
I just don't have a choice anymore. So it's in bed by 10.
Yeah.
Up at 6.
Gotta be.
Don't necessarily sleep at 10, but it's between 10 and 11 I'll doze off.
10:30 is lights out for me.
Yeah.
Finish my Harry Potter reading at the moment.
Yeah. I've got a Carwell addiction at the moment.
Carwell, yeah.
Yeah, I just can't get enough of the drag races. So don't listen to me for, preparative sleep work.
Yeah. Today
drag races.
On today's episode, we're going to talk about sleep hygiene.
Watch hypercar drag races.
Go to sleep dreaming of the car that you want one day.
Yeah. So it's probably not the best, but I can sleep I don't know. I think it was I was doing those caffeinated sleeps. So to do that, you have to teach yourself how to wind down, and you will go to sleep straight away. So I used to lie on the floor in that with your feet up,
the astronaut stance.
Yeah. And then I used to practice the breathing. So look out, guys.
Holy
shit!
A
bit of a fucking hippie at one
Holy
stage.
shit!
And I could eventually just bomb myself to sleep within 60 seconds.
Yeah.
And then wake up, obviously the caffeine would kick in. I'd be off to do my sessions and shit.
Yep.
So now I think I can do that as soon as I feel tired. I just go, okay, so the phone down, light off, and then I'm just like 1, 2, 3, bang, and then Steph's like, "Fuck, you're asleep already." I'm like, "What happened?" What time is it? She's
Amy
like,
talks
"You've been
to
asleep
me
for like 10 minutes."
Yeah,
so
Amy talks to me. I'm like, duh.
yeah. So
Fuck
like,
you for being asleep already.
pretty good skill to have, I think.
I learnt maybe the first time I did a sanctioned meet, like for powerlifting, I had a lot of trouble sleeping after particularly deadlift days. So I downloaded that Headspace app, and it had like the box breathing drills in it. Yeah. And it starts at like 3 minutes, and I think they work up to 10. But I was like, 4 minutes laters.
Yeah.
And now I can just do that most of the time.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's worse when you get in that loop of like, you get mad that you're not asleep, so then you get more wound up, so then you don't go to sleep, and you kind of get this fucking...
Yeah, if I wake up in the middle of the night, I get into that. 'Cause I'm like, I know I have to go back to sleep. But then I just get weird about it. There's no sleep.
Yeah. All right, welcome to the episode, guys. I've let Jason down. I wasn't aware we were doing matching tracksuits again.
I'm dressing for comfort.
But to be honest, I only have one matching tracksuit, which I suppose this is a learning podcast. So if you missed the STCfit podcast last week, I came in as a marshmallow with pink on pink. So I think I've earned my week off.
If you had a spray tan last week, you would have legit looked like a pinker.
Yeah, maybe I'll try that next time.
Yeah, I'm just trying to rotate through.
So that's the other colour, right? You had the blue one on last week.
This is asphalt.
You came into the chair last week.
Yeah, okay. Fuck. All you can see is my beetroot face. So this is as grey as I'll go. That's the only reason why I really wanted to wear it, is to
prove it wasn't fuckboy grey.
Well, to prove the greyness of it. Yeah, it's like this is as grey as you'll get.
Slate.
Yeah, they call it asphalt.
Asphalt.
Yeah, it's like a fancy grey.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's not bad.
For the ear people, I would suggest it's like the table is slate, and that's pretty close.
Yeah, I agree. I think asphalt just sounds cooler though.
Yeah.
Like if you look at it like on the store, it's like slate.
Yeah. It's not a table.
Nah. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Whenever I hear slate, I think heavy. Yeah.
Fuck that pool table.
Pool table. Fuck that pool table.
So backstory on the pool table. Not that you guys give a fuck, but hey, hopefully you'll laugh. So Jason had this pool table, and you moved it how many times?
So 1, 2, 3. So 3 for me as a family.
Yep.
And then unfortunately fucking had to move it with you because I gave it to you.
So we took it out of and that was a fucking hike too, from that back room all the way out the front of the truck.
Oh.
Rough. So this thing was like I want to say like grown adults, but we weren't grown adults like we're grown adults now.
Yeah, no.
4 humans. I
think we had the wheel, didn't we, as well? When we moved it?
I don't think so at your place. I think it was just like...
There was one time where like we had a wheel.
Yeah.
Fuck, it was so good. I think the first time we lifted, it took 15 of us.
Oh,
because
Jesus.
we were like...
Kids.
I was like 12.
Yeah.
13.
Yeah. So yeah, we got it out into the truck. So that was Jason's good riddance. And then somehow I moved house a couple of times after that with that pool table. Jason gives me shit that when we used to teach the Cert 4, that I was always busy on anatomy day.
Yeah, 100%.
Jason was always fucking busy on move the pool table day.
However, the difference between the two of those is that I wasn't obliged to actually move the pool table, where Ben was actually obliged as the facilitator.
Thank you to all my friends for getting married at appropriate times or convenient times. So yeah, I moved it twice, I think. No, 3 times. So 2 Point Cook. Yeah. 3 times. And then when I sold it, the guys walked in and they're like, "Oh yeah, like I like it, blah blah blah." Obviously, like, got to shave $30 or get a good deal. Like, would you take, I don't know, 200 or whatever it was? I'm like, if I don't have to touch it and it's gone by tomorrow, sure.
Yeah, just get this thing out of my fucking face.
Like, he's like, "Oh, okay, I'll go get a few mates." He came back, and I literally just stood in the kitchen with my arms crossed. I was like, "I'm not fucking touching it." Like,
that pool table.
You got a sale, and I shaved whatever off the price, and I'm not helping.
Yeah, I couldn't even give that away at one point.
Yeah, I understand.
Yeah, pool tables are old school though. Like,
we had a lot of fun around the pool table.
Yeah, but it's not a thing. I don't feel like that's a thing that people do now.
Houses are too small. Too expensive.
Yeah, and it's like, I don't know, for me to have a room, a whole room that's like
with a pool table,
got a pool table in it, I'm
Yeah.
like, fuck, I could just like not have this room, get a small house, or I could put something else in there that you use more often. But when someone else has a pool table, I get
it's good.
a little bit excited because you play your 2 games or whatever, and then you leave.
Yeah, and you don't have to dedicate a whole room of your house to it for the rest
that's
of the time.
Yeah, so I think that's what, like, we used to play at pool halls a lot.
Yeah.
Back when that was a thing as well. But there's only like one around now.
Yeah.
It's like squash courts. Like, they just go on.
Yeah.
It's like, let's just eradicate this sport off
old
the
people's
earth. Yeah. Either that or it's just like not a Western suburbs thing.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah. So they're just like,
true.
no, let's...
in our bubble, they don't exist.
Yeah. Let's put some, I don't know, mixed martial arts stuff in here, or
some violence.
turn it into a gym.
Insert some violence.
Yeah. Lean into your demographic.
Replacing like, I'm so Western suburbs, I can't even pronounce it. La Costa? The brand? Is that how you actually say it?
I thought you were talking about like a sport.
No. The brand.
I thought you were talking about lacrosse. Yeah.
The alligator.
Yeah.
It's like, let's replace that with tap out. It just fits in better out here. Yeah.
Agreed.
Is tap out even still a thing?
I'd say if you went to a UFC event, you'd probably find out.
It's still like the token UFC thing for me.
Yeah. It's like the singlet in Bali of the UFC.
Yeah. Or the
like,
unit. Well,
those people probably own both.
Yeah. The unit shirt of like motorbike riders or like wakeboarders or whatever.
Yeah.
It's like the public announcement of what I do for fun. What's ours? Jordans?
I don't know. I don't have.
What do Jordans say? There's like the basketball crew.
Like shoes.
Yeah.
These days. It's not a basketball brand as per se now.
Yeah, I feel like it's a pretty strong part of like gym culture though.
Yeah.
Shoes in general.
I don't know. Because there's so many segments of gym culture.
Yeah.
Like Lululemon is like a certain type.
Okay. Yeah.
You know
all
what I
right.
mean?
Is that gym culture? Don't get me wrong.
Fitness culture.
Did you?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Don't get me wrong. I like me.
So like people who go to the gym wear Lululemon.
Correct. Yeah.
So it's still part of gym culture.
It is.
It's just that they usually
so
people that wear those.
Jordans are like meathead culture.
Pretty much.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go to the gym and wear Jordans.
Yeah. Or like modern day meathead. It's like the meathead thing is kind of different now.
Yeah. They're not actually.
Maybe
meatheads.
bro culture.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not meathead culture.
Yeah.
It's not like the sleeves cut off my hoodie turned into a vest kind of meathead. It's like meathead that also cares about fashion.
When I think of meathead, I just think of black and blue. Remember black and blue?
Yeah.
So if you wear that, you're meathead.
Meathead, yeah.
That
because
string-
back then that was the only fucking piece of clothing you could buy that actually fit.
Yeah.
The
I never actually owned it. I got given a singlet when I did my first comp.
Yeah.
Yeah. That was it. And I was like,
I think I had a pair of the shorts. Maybe.
Yeah.
That I think I just got given from the supplement shop.
I feel like you get given those
Yeah.
kind of things. No, not sure if you and I would go and spend our money on that stuff.
Nah. All right. So today's topic is #origin story. So we're gonna
Soundbite, something.
we need a thing.
Yeah. It's like,
Do you know who Tom Segura is? The comic.
Heard the name.
So he's in like the Rogan clique with like Bert Kreischer and that. So on his podcast, he has his own little board and he just plays random.
Doesn't that thing have sounds?
It does. We've just never set anything up on it.
Oh, so they're not preset. They're not preset ones.
It probably
has like a drum roll. Like, I feel like they all just standard. Yeah. Does it have a drum roll on it? You don't know, do you? Oh, okay. Yeah. We don't want to start pressing buttons.
Do you see TikTok's got sound effects like that? Like you do drum rolls with shit on it.
I know nothing about TikTok. All I know how to do is
we're 5 days in.
Upload my photos and it does it for me.
We're 5 days in
Thanks,
and we learnt how to add a cover today. That's good.
Yeah.
We'll get there. We'll figure it out.
Smashing it. We need 1,200 views. We'll get
out. So yeah, obviously big transitions, and then like I've done a little bit of reflection on like the last few years as well. Recently, because I had to, some formal documentation. So I thought it'd be interesting just to go through that for, I think we've done it ages and ages ago, like early 50s maybe in the episodes. So it'd be worthwhile going through again with some new insight, new perspective. So let's start. I know you kind of decided really early that PT was going to be your thing. What was the catalyst for that? Was it just like, I like going to the gym?
It's pretty shallow.
I'm a worker in the gym.
It's pretty shallow. So I met a guy at the gym, and it's funny. I kind of just like copied someone else's career, but I feel like I kind of got a little bit further. So I went to the gym. So like, you know, the old saying goes, breakups make bodybuilders. You know, so I had my first major breakup. You know, with my first girlfriend. I thought the world was going to end, of course, because I'd never experienced any form of hardship as a child.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a good resilience.
The hardest thing you've ever been through.
So then I realized that's it. Yeah. So then I realized, you know, everything's still, my heart's still beating, my lungs are still respirating. Like, you know, life goes on.
Yeah.
But I got into the gym, and then I met a guy at the gym, and he was like, I'm pretty sure that, like, when I think about it now, like, he was just like using me as a guinea pig. You know, like, give me all these workouts, and that's where I like kind of started doing a little bit of that CrossFit. Dare I say it?
Oh wow.
And then then it got into obviously like straight up bodybuilding because.
So this is not the guy that I would know.
No. This is This is I can't remember. I can't even remember his name. And then he told me he was going to uni and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay, so to be a good personal trainer, like that's what you have to do. So then I think I was about 16 at the time.
Was there money exchanged to you, or were you just like?
No, I think by the end of it, I was giving him like $20 a session, maybe $40.
Yeah, okay.
Like, you know, I was paying him for PT at the end, but at the start, it was like we're doing all these workouts and everything. And then I like kind of became his friend. It's funny, I became his friend, but I can't remember his name.
That's cool though for that guy. Like, take the young fella under his wing and guide him at the start for free. That's cool. Yeah. I like that.
So then I was just like, because I knew I was like, oh, see, you can actually do this as a job.
Yeah.
So that I was pretty excited about that. So then it was just like I went to school and I was just like, I don't care about any of this stuff.
Yeah.
If this doesn't help me become a good personal trainer.
Yeah.
And I worked out like what I needed to get into university. I think I needed like a 75 enter score or something.
Yeah.
So I was like, all right, so if I did the bare minimum, I was like, I'm going to do all the PE subjects and I just need to do maths. I don't need to do maths methods. I even dropped out of maths in year 12 and they were like, you need 5 subjects. And I was like, no, I'm just doing 4. And they're like, you sure about that? And I was like, yeah. So I just thought if I just do 4 real good, like good at 4.
Yeah.
And then, I think I got like, low 70s, managed to kind of work my way into, I had to drive out of fucking Hogwarts to go to university. It was like Sunbury or something. Like, it legit looks like Hogwarts, bro. So I went to uni there. I had to do like a degree in sports admin before I went into university. So, but it was just like the whole time. Like I remember a teacher saying, and I think I've said this a lot. They were like, you sure?
Yeah.
You want to be PT? Like, you sure?
Yeah.
Like, it's not a job. It's not a real job. So I was just like, yeah, we'll work it out. And then, that was pretty much it. Like,
yeah, that's cool. Yeah, mine was, I copied someone else's career too, which was yours. But I grew up in country Victoria, shout out to Shepparton, and all I wanted to do was get the fuck out as soon as possible from when I was about 15, maybe younger. But even before that, I reckon I was 9 years old, and we found this course, like, it was actually in Albury. It was like...
shout out to Aubrey.
Yeah. Shout out to like half of our clientele who live in Albury. We'll be up for a seminar soon. There was like a diploma in motorsport. So it was just like basically you became a specific mechanic that worked on race cars. And I was like, that's what I'm going to do. And then obviously later on got into kart racing and met a couple of people that were in the industry with V8 supercars and stuff like that, some team owners and that. And I was sort of like, look, I'm okay at school, like with maths and science and shit. Should I go do this course or should I go to university? And he was like, 100% go to university. You don't want to be like, shout out to all the mechanics, but you don't want to be just a mechanic. I was like, okay, cool. So that was it. Like I'm going to Melbourne. And then similar to you, which probably ruined a lot of brain cells and a lot of potential that I maybe had in my VCE. I found out in the February of my year 12 of my final year that instead of needing like 85 to get into mechanical engineering, I could go through a back door through RMIT TAFE, and 2 years, as long as I had a B average, counted directly to 2 years into the mechanical engineering degree.
Yeah.
And it was $50 a year versus $6,000 a year. So I was like, I'm going to do that. So I did do methods and physics and all that kind of shit. But I basically just got drunk for a year. For year 12. Found my way down here, and then after 18 months, I was like, this is shit. I actually don't enjoy this at all. Once I actually realized what was going to be involved. It's like, I think there was one day that I was studying fluid dynamics, trying to work out like the pressure that you needed to push one piston down to make the other piston move with based on the volume side, blah, 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 blah. And I was like, I fucking hate this. So,
sounds horrible.
Yeah. So I knew then, I was like, okay, I'm out. This is not it. And then I applied for what I thought was a reception job at the gym. And that turned out. I rocked up to induction again. You drove the Hogwarts. I drove the fucking Mordor.
I got the reception job at the gym instead.
I thought I was going to induction just to like learn how to use the fucking cash register and shit. Rock up and we get this fucking like book. All right, this is what we're working through this week. Open it up. It's like full scale sales training. I was like, okay, I'm probably a little bit out of my depth here, but we'll just send it and see. So I did a year in that, got pretty good at it. Probably, I think my last 6 months, I basically stayed top 3 in the company across the board, brought another few people up. Then there was a management position available, which looking back now, it was probably actually an intelligent decision from the manager to say like, you're 20, you're pretty much still chaos.
Yeah.
You shouldn't
Can't
be
be the
assistant manager of the
club.
gym.
Yeah.
But at the time, my ego disagreed with that opinion. So I was like, fuck this. So I think I got my certificate for like $800 because I was like in the industry. Might have been less than that. So I finished that in like 3 weeks, gave my notice, and transitioned over to the other side.
It's horrifying.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. So obviously during that year, while I was working in sales, I was working with you and seeing obviously the other side. Like I enjoyed sales and meeting people, and like part of the being a big box club was like, what they used to call it, the timeline. Where you'd like, this is where you are now. And then in 6 weeks and 12 weeks and laying it out and drawing it on the piece of paper and shit. You imagine how good my drawings looked with my handwriting. But somehow people signed up. So I enjoyed that process. But obviously, like, once they signed up, that was it.
Yeah.
Like, I think, 96% don't come after the first month or some shit.
It's crazy.
So it was like, there was no relationship. There was no kind of seeing it through with them or being part of that. And working with you, I started to like training more and more as well. I'd always been into sport, but not so much training. So then that development kind of came, and I was like, maybe I'll jump on the other side of the counter and
see what it's about.
Put a different coloured polo on.
Yeah. The dark side, they used to call it. I don't know why.
Yeah.
Just because it was black?
Maybe. Because our tops were black. So then, I think, look, I was fortunate in 2 ways. I had a year of sales training under my belt. And I'd also been in the sales room for a year and trained half the guys in there. Yeah. So when I hit the gym floor, all the good leads somehow managed to get to me, and I was pretty good at closing them. So I reckon I was off the gym floor maybe in 6 to 8 weeks. And that was it. I remember talking to my uncle actually, and I was like, cracked $1,000 a week this week. He's like, fuck. I couldn't believe it. This is the same uncle that I did like a summer helping him with painting, and he offered me an apprenticeship, and I was like, nah. So I was on roofs and shit in the middle of the summer. I'm like, this isn't for me. Too precious for that.
Yeah.
And then, I was like, so next step's like $2,000, and he kind of like laughed. And then obviously, we went on to do that pretty comfortably for an extended period of time. So that was, I guess, my introductory phase. But like, fuck, I was a terrible trainer when I started. Like, fuck, bro. I think the worst, and I'm going to ask you what the worst thing you've ever done is after this, so I don't feel terrible.
Yeah.
The worst thing looking back that I ever did with a client, which I think was like almost dehumanizing, was I used to do like prone push-up position, and like I would roll out a medicine ball. They had to get up and sprint and then push the medicine ball back.
Yep.
And I was like looking back at it now, I'm like, you were playing fetch with your clients. Just like when I look back at that, I'm just like, and even I'm getting hot talking about it.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh, it's uncomfortable.
Yeah. I don't know if I can't remember. Like it'd just be like dumb shit, like like side leg pressing, like
Yeah.
Just like shit like that. Like you just get hung up on like bodybuilding.
Yeah.
Like this works out of this.
Did you ever do the single leg push down on the?
Nah. So I definitely was like,
machine?
There was like a spectrum, right? So it was like kind of silly, but it's kind of could be kind of effective, and then it was just straight up stupid.
Yeah.
I don't feel like I got to the straight up stupid sector, which was like Bosu ball anything.
Yeah.
Like the leg press on the thing. I was just like, that doesn't make any sense.
What about the Poliquin nutrition?
That's
That's hard because it got really good results. As much as it was
yeah.
factually incorrect, probably what we were saying.
Separating
at
the
time.
carbs and protein and stuff definitely.
But it got
did
good
that.
results.
Yeah. So that was probably
that and like 4 grams of protein per kilo per body weight per day. It's not
9 grams H&B post workout with 100 grams.
We never
of carbs.
prescribed that thoh.
No, we just did it.
Yeah.
We did it for a long period of time, hoping it would work.
Yeah.
But yeah, in terms of training people, like it was more just like. Obviously, it just evolves. So when I used to see clients like that I trained previously and stuff. I remember one time, like I just like apologized to one of them, and she's like, "What do you mean? Like you have to apologize?" And I was like, "I do."
Yeah.
But it was just like I think I was pretty fortunate because I had a formal education. I don't want to fuck them to my own horn.
No, I was about to go there too.
But I feel like there was tremendous benefit from having a formal education. Because it did lay some really good foundations and some really good habits that you want to bring into personal training. So it was like at university, it was like, it's action and effect.
Mm.
So you've got to be in control of the action, and that comes from the preparation that you put in. So it was like, if you prepare to do something in a certain way and you facilitate that action would bring on this effect. And that's kind of how I trained people. I was like, all right, so everyone needs a program, because we need to make sure that we're going through these cycles of adaptation that we learn, some basic physiology stuff, understanding how muscles work, all of that stuff really did kind of lay the foundation. And when you're at university, like you have to learn it. Like you don't have a choice. Like it's just bombarded in your face all the time. You're doing 3 months of a subject, just to learn physiology and biochemistry and biomechanics, and then there's actual subjects you can select if you like them called resistance training. So you learn all the inner workings of resistance training programming stuff. So that was really good. So I never really kind of was embarrassed about how I trained people because I had that critical thinking behind a lot of things. It was just like the quality of it was really low. Yeah, the standard of it was low. It was just like compared to now, but I still think as a first year trainer, it was probably pretty good. Yeah.
So I want to put a bookmark in that and do come back to it. But I think one of the main questions I get asked, and I'm not sure if you get it all the time as well. I think maybe I get asked because I don't have one. Is like, should I go get a degree? Yeah. Should I go get formal study? Will it help me in my career? Blah, blah, blah. I think the first year or two is where it makes the biggest difference. And I think after a couple of years, you obviously were always more experienced, but I felt like I could hold my own in the gym in terms of as a coach, side by side with you. And I think that's probably the time where it was like, we started working together a little bit, and I was like, hey, I'm bumping my price up to $60 for half an hour. And you're like, what the fuck? How are you doing that? I think that first 2 years was where the biggest gap was in terms of quality. Yeah, as a coach, but I don't think if you are planning to do it for a career, that you can catch up if that helps. I think there's other benefits to going to university, like you write way better than I do. Most people that I know that have been to university learn how to learn, so like that's a really valuable skill. Yeah, I obviously did a year and a half, but it wasn't Like I didn't have to submit essays and shit like that. It was like, do this math question with fucking 18 letters in it.
Yeah, the craziest thing about that is that the course that I had to do to get into X Science was how I learned how to write. Because everything was essay.
Yeah.
Everything was like, go research, essay, citate, and it was old school citation stuff. Like, you had a book. You had to have a book. You couldn't have an internet website or anything. It wasn't considered valid. So we had to I remember going to like the state library and looking through the fucking archives. Archives, man. Like you take these things out, you got to put under the magnifying glass, and you got to basically like print out these snapshots of these little snippets of like, stuff they've written in like the 1800s and shit.
That's wild.
Yeah, man. And then you had to like use that information and cite that, and it was like, this section of this and blah blah blah, and this paragraph. It's
and nuts. As much as that sounds bullshit, I think it's valuable as a lesson.
Oh, I only really started to value it when I started to like give my knowledge to other people.
Yeah, educate. Yeah.
Yeah, like it really starts to kind of pay you back.
Yeah.
And it, like, don't get me wrong, like I feel like I would have gotten even more out of university if I was a little bit older.
Yeah.
Because I was 17. I just turned 18 when I went to university. So you just had that school mindset still, but like mum and dad couldn't tell you to go to uni. Like, you could just like, I remember one day like there was traffic on the freeway and the exit to go to High Point was free. So we're just like, fuck it, let's go to High Point. So it's just stuff like that. Like, being a little bit more mature, you probably could have got a little bit more out of it. But there's just heaps of benefits I see now as I get older. And then just things like, second, third exposures as you like, I reckon even just from like a brain development perspective as well, like things started to click real easily later in life. Like I was never, like things like, muscles, bones, anatomical movement, basic physiology, exercise physiology as well. Like some of the stuff, like I feel like I was super interested in it. I got it, but if I didn't get it or I wasn't interested in it, I wouldn't understand it. But now it's like, oh, okay, so that just makes sense. Like everything just starts to click faster.
Yeah.
So I think that like, there's a lot of benefit from that as well. But that's not to say you can't learn yourself. It's just everything's kind of laid out for you.
Yeah. And you have to pass.
Well,
so
and you get good skills. Yeah.
I think, and like I've heard, don't fucking shoot me, but I've heard Jordan Peterson talk about it in terms of like, businesses don't hire people because they have degrees. They hire people because they went through the process of getting a degree, which shows that they can do something hard.
Yeah.
And I think that's really valuable. We talk about it, like, and everyone talks about it. This day and age, kids don't know how to work, and we're those old guys that say that as well, because, well, it seems to be true. But it's like seeing that on paper is like you did something hard.
Yeah.
And you stuck it out and you finished. So as much as you could have just been regurgitating information, like at least you had to show up and you had to do the thing.
Yeah.
So I think there's value in that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it's interesting to see like the styles of learning. Like it is in a science degree, it's not hard. Like I don't care what anyone says. It's fucking fact.
Yeah.
And you just take that fact and find the right question.
Yeah.
You're just plotting, you're just dragging information and putting it in the right spot. And you can see when I went from being a writer, researcher, like because we did sports admin, but it was like you had to learn like history of sport, and I was talking about philosophy and shit. I wrote an article about.
I'd love to read your philosophy work, Jason.
Bro, I wrote an article about American sport and their military like civilization, and how they express that when they're not at war through their sport and day-to-day life. And
Isn't that how the NFL started?
Maybe, and that's part of the reason why they are the way they are, is like they just, even when they're not fucking picking fights with people, they're doing it weekly, and just encouraging their people to get bought into that, military movement and approach in day-to-day life. So and it got published in like I should try and find it. It's in like a journal article and shit. But anyway, so that's the kind of shit that like you had to learn. And it was like, this has to be structured this way, and which was really good. As soon as I went from there, which was probably like C's and maybe a D if I was lucky in terms of like grades. As soon as I moved over to science, you can see it because it was like high distinction, because it's just like, if you have a good memory, and you understand and you like it, it's just like, oh, this is that. It's so easy, man. It's like, what's osmosis? It's like, oh, okay, cool, done. where's the origin insertion of this muscle? Like, it's just facts. So it is really, it's a bit easier to kind of learn, but you still have to learn it. Like you still have to sit there and do the work. Like I remember even to get into university and get good grades in high school, which you don't have to do to get into to university, but it just makes it easier. I remember like I was like, I'm not going out for 3 months. I had like this like, you know, it's probably like a mistress at the time, you know, because I was just mucking around in high school. And I was just like, nah, we're not doing this anymore.
Yeah.
Because it's like, if I keep hanging out with you,
yeah,
I'm just going to end up fucking doing what I've seen other people do older than me.
Yeah.
And that's just like get a job and then fucking, you know, just be unhappy the rest of my life.
Mm.
So I was like, all right, so that was that pushed to the side. Didn't see any of my friends. And I remember I just fucking had all my textbooks and I just read them over and over and over and over.
Yeah. So I think that's a really important point to make. And I want to come at this from like just to Cert 4. Like, you made the degree good. The degree wasn't good. I think that's a really big part of it. Like there's lots of people that go and get the exercise science degree and don't come out of it the way you have. Like I've got someone that I used to actually refer people to who was a qualified dietitian, I think. Maybe nutritionist, but could have been a dietitian, I'm not quite sure. Who watched What the Health and then flipped everything to protein gives you cancer, and everyone I work with now is vegan. Like fucking overnight, I'm like, you have a degree. How do you not know how to go check this shit?
Learned the fucking scientific method.
Yeah, like, so I don't put all of my weight into that, and like you see that all the time with like that even using a vegan crowd, right? Like they pull in the doctor that fucking has the same opinion as them, and they can say, oh well, the doctor says it. It's like yeah, they got a degree, but maybe they're not. But yeah, coming at it from the other side, I guess like my skill set was in high school and stuff was like free writing. If I had to do like a review of a book or a movie or write a short story, like we did literature, like I got like 45 in English. Yeah, I did better in English than I did in maths, but maybe because I didn't go to maths because it was hard, and I just had to pass to get to get my 55. Like if you do maths and physics and you pass. Or do methods and physics and you pass, you're pretty much guaranteed.
So glad you put the UDs on method. Like if you do meth. I was like, what? You guys doing shit.
That helps too.
You guys doing shit. Fuck.
No, that was after my time.
Yeah.
Thankfully. So yeah, I think there was different skill sets, and I came from a customer service background as well. Like I had a year basically running a spare parts desk at a Supercheap, so learning to engage with people and people older than me and people that were mad, like all that kind of shit, and being able to navigate that. So I think that helped. Whereas you see a lot of kids that come out of school, go into their studies, come out of their studies and walk onto the gym floor and have to talk to Susie Muffintop, and they're like, I don't know how to fucking communicate with you.
Yeah, I think that's probably the biggest skill. Like I actually got a receptionist job at the gym, guys. So I took Ben's job before he even existed in Point Cook. So I worked in the gym as the receptionist, and I think that was probably the biggest influencer of me being able to work with people. Running a business, though, was a different story. It wasn't that great. But being able to interact with people, just getting by, I think like people skills, like there's a lot of coaches that get by on people skills, right?
Yeah.
Technical skills, business skills, very low. But if your people skills are really high, you can kind of make it work. Yeah. Except for like, you know, your business is really fragile. So something like, you know, a pandemic, let's say, would probably ruin it, or if you got sick or some shit like that. But like, just looking at, you know, just saying hi to everyone, you know, people seeing your face, you know, being able to talk to someone and actually say like, how's your training going? Not just like, oh, I've got a uniform on. I'll just like walk around the gym. People know I work here. So they
when I put my degree on my poster on the trainer board.
Yeah. And that's what will get me business. Yeah. Because I'm so smart.
And my specialty is 5 specialties. That means I'm not a specialist at any of them.
Yeah, and this is my first personal training role too, which is hard because like they encourage you to do all that shit. Yeah. Like it's a bit of bullshit now, but it's a lot. It's multifaceted, right?
Yeah. All right. So before we stay on before we even started for too long.
Hey guys, hope you are enjoying this week's episode. If you are, please remember to like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to head to the website where we have all our free resources, gifts, products, services, and merch for you guys to enjoy. All right, let's head back to the episode.
Moving into like out of that initial phase, because we want to do a whole episode. We'll probably do it on the next one, which will just be like life in the first year as a PT. So you were the same as me. You got on your feet pretty quickly. in terms of like sessions anyway, and income anyway.
Yeah.
Not so much in running a business. When did you sort of go, nah, this is it. I can make a real long-term career out of this, and I can be here when you're 30, whatever you are.
30. Just 30.
Same. No, I'm younger than you. That makes me like 29.
34.
So yeah, sitting here at 34 going like, this is my career. I can do this for as long as I want. When did that penny drop for you that this is the thing?
Let's get a mortgage. I'll do it. Nah.
But that's actually when everyone leaves.
Yeah.
If we're honest, like most people are like, I want a mortgage, so I'm going to get a job.
Yeah. Look, I don't know. I just like, I'm a stubborn fuck, so it's like I see shit out, even if it's fucking not working.
But I know you had the interview at the warehouse.
The
thoughts of the fireys and all of that. When was like
the fiery thing was, it could have gone either way because I was still young.
Yeah.
You know, and that was the reason why I didn't get it. Was like, you're too young.
Yeah.
That was all. It was like I was 21, so I was only in my first year, and it was just an opportunity. I was like, I kind of like had this like I could join the fire brigade kind of thing, you know. I still obviously think I could if I wanted to, but I think I can do anything if I want to, right?
Yeah.
And then it was like, you know, train them. You stay at the station. You know, you're there when they're there. Blah 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 blah.
Yeah.
So that didn't really kind of have any bearing on my career. I just like it was an opportunity that just kind of came and went. When I went to get the job, when I went to go for that job, was probably the time where I was just like, nah, this isn't. I've got to go all in on this one thing.
How many years in was that?
I had knee surgery, so I probably would have been about 24.
Yeah,
about 24.
So PT for 3 years?
Yeah, because I was 21, I think, when I started.
Yeah.
So went in and I drove to, like, it was more, I feel like I got coerced into going to the interview in the first place. Like, it wasn't from my own 100% doing. It was like, my brother-in-law worked at Lululemon. Like, he could get, like, they needed people in the warehouse, and it kind of seemed like I could work in the middle of the day and then still do my PT and stuff. And it was going to be like $20 an hour, $25 an hour. So I was like, okay, cool. So I drove there, and then I was like in the car park, and I was just like, I don't really want to fucking do this. Like, I don't want to do the stuff that involves being an employee. Like, I don't want to have a boss, and I don't give a fuck how nice they are and how cool it is to be part of the team. Yeah. So yeah, and I was like, if I do this, then I can kiss my personal training goodbye. Because I know what will happen is I'll do 5 hours, and then it'll turn into 8 when 2 people drop off. Yeah. And then it'll turn into 10. Because
we need you, Jace. We need you.
Yeah. It's easier to just say, oh, can I have more hours?
Yeah.
Than to go and get more clients. It's way easier. So then it's like your plan. I say this all the time. Your plan B becomes your plan A. Always. Yeah. You know, it's never a plan B. So you can never just lean on that like extra cash on the side. You work in a warehouse and you're a coach. You work in a warehouse and you do PT on the side.
Yeah, and I think that's a message for people that even don't do that once you've started and you get scared. Like, we've seen people get jobs at reception and warehouses and whatever, hospitality, other shit. Never lasted.
Yeah.
And then we've seen it happen where people come in with jobs and they're like got responsibilities and shit. So for whatever reason, they can't go all in straight away. We've seen a couple of times that it's like, no, this is my thing. Yeah. And I've got the dollar figure in mind. And as soon as I hit that dollar figure, that thing's gone. Yeah. And it works. Yeah. But if you are like, allow yourself to be like, oh, but I still get paid from that job, it never works. No. You have to be in a position where it's like, I'm working to this thing, and as soon as I hit that, that's gone.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, so then, I just went in and I tried to give them the worst answers that weren't impolite, just because I knew my brother-in-law got me the interview and stuff. Yeah. So I was like, I told him I couldn't stand up for very long because I had a bad knee and shit. And
it's hilarious.
Yeah, just said shit like that. I can only really stand for like 30 minutes at a time, and it involved like standing at this big workbench, like I think like packing boxes or unpacking shit. I don't know. Yeah. Anyway, I was like, they took me for like that, customary walk of the warehouse, and then they were just like, "Oh, we'll call you." Yeah. I was like, "Fuck yeah, I didn't get that shit."
So after that was your moment of like, this is what I want to do.
I I feel like I've always wanted to do personal training. Like I said, I think I got just like distracted and coerced into like, you know, it might have been a good idea just listening to other people. Like, you know, you should just be a good opportunity. This be a good way to just make a little bit of extra cash or whatever. And then I was just like, nah, fuck that. Like, I'll just put more work into where I am. And that'll get me the same return, probably more, better, you know. So yeah, like I think that just kind of, and then obviously like we went overseas on a big holiday, and then I come back and we bought a block of land and bought a house, and then it was just like, well, fucking to make this work, it's like there's no fucking around, you know. I can't be just going fishing on a Friday and you know, just doing.
It's hilarious how those two timings coincide.
Yeah.
So because I remember. And I was thinking in my head, like, how am I going to answer this question? Two things happened at the same time that happened at the same time as you. So you were coaching me at the time. And because you didn't run a business, you just trained people. You were like, I'm going to Europe, senior 6 weeks. And I was like, oh, what the fuck am I going to do for the next 6 weeks?
I did the smart thing, though, and I got other people to train my clients.
Yeah, except for me.
Yeah, because you're a PT.
You're a PT. You take care of your own shit. Yeah. So that was when I was like, well, fuck, what am I going to do? I only knew Good Life Point Cook.
Yeah.
So I was like, okay, where else can I find some information? And that's literally when it was like, I discovered BPAC, and then from that it was Schoenfeld and Norton and Brett and all these other names that I was like, Charles. I was like, oh, there's...
The internet was getting better by then, too.
This is a thing.
Fuck, we say an old saying. Yeah. But like, it's kind of like YouTube came out. Yeah, it's like people understood what it was and then started putting good content out, too.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, so there's more to this. And then I'd been in... I was probably a couple of years into a relationship, living together, all that kind of stuff. And I was like, I definitely don't want to be showing up to the gym at 5:30 for people that don't come. And I definitely don't want to be finishing at 8:30, coming home and eating and going to sleep because I have to be up at 5:30. I definitely don't want to be doing that when I'm 30. But I really fucking like this.
Yeah.
And that kind of like being the nerd who liked the maths and physics and all that sort of shit in high school, finding this like doorway to more, because I hadn't been to uni, I hadn't experienced like all this other stuff, I hadn't read the textbooks and that, I just like learned what I learned in the gym. So that for me was like, oh, okay, this is the thing.
Yeah.
And I remember, I couldn't tell you the date. It was probably 3 to 6 months before our yellow card meeting.
The meeting.
I got up at, I think, 2:30 in the morning. Opened up my laptop and I was like, this is what STCfit is.
Yeah.
And just wrote out everything that I wanted it to be. Like in terms of values, goals, how we were going to run it, all of that kind of stuff. I was like, I have to make this work and it has to be more than just getting paid for sessions. We can do way more than this.
Yeah.
And that was the turning point for me, which probably would have been 2015, I want to say.
Yeah, it was definitely after. Yeah, it's probably the same time. Yeah, they bought the house that year. 2015. Yeah,
that's cool. So then, obviously, we had our internally very famous meeting where Jason and I went to the local pub, basically, and I had no white paper, so I had
yellow paper.
I'd actually printed it in a room that was dark at the time, and I didn't even know that it was yellow until I took it out. I was like, oh, whatever, it's still a thing. Had a nice border on it.
Words
important.
Yeah, fuck, the border was the best. Let's put a border on a formal document.
Because again, values that there are valuable lessons to be learned when going to university that you don't put borders on. Formal documents.
Well, if you do, it's just the line.
Yeah.
Just this little thin line.
No flames.
No flame border,
yeah. So yeah, then you and I basically spoke and it was like, cool, let's pursue something more than that.
Yeah.
Then through that, I think we were just sort of like getting into education within the club itself. So it was like we were trying to educate our clients as much as we can, because we were finding stuff we were excited about and we wanted to pass it on to them, which is how like we did what was called a muscle camp. So it was like groups of up to 16 people, I think
Yeah,
we
had
had.
heaps.
Yeah, which was like split into groups of 2. I go, you go. We just walked around the gym and watched people, wrote out 12 weeks of programming, wrote out nutrition plans, and then we did like before we went and trained, we did a little education thing. So we had like a curriculum set out for that block as well.
Yeah.
Which was really cool. And then we had 2 trainers come and do it. And they were like fucking struggling. Like early in their 12 weeks, weren't doing very well. And I don't even know how. It was just like by accident almost. We took them both under our wing. I think we kind of co-coached Reese, right?
Yeah, I think it was just little bits and pieces in passing.
Yeah.
Do this, do that kind of stuff. You know?
Yeah. And then obviously, yeah, so Jack, I'm not sure what Jack's doing these days. I haven't heard or spoke to him for ages, but
yeah, nasty. Same.
So yeah, like Reese obviously excelled, stayed a part of the business for quite some time, and moved on and runs Lionstone Physiques now with a couple of coaches and all that kind of stuff. So I think that instilled in us that like, hey, we can actually help other people and give back a little bit. And because we'd worked so hard on actually thinking beyond cash for time, maybe we can help other people do that, and we can help other people not be shit like I was for the first 2 years, and how you were for the first 3 years with your business side.
Yeah.
And kind of bring those together and help other people do it.
Yeah.
So we launched into, then it was the mentorship.
Yeah.
What do you remember of like launching the mentorship? What were your thoughts of it at the start? Because obviously we had the website before that we're not talking about because of an epic fail. So we do need to talk about that. So like we built a website that was really, really expensive, with the intent that it was going to compete against like the likes of Michelle Bridges and stuff. This is pre-Calorie Times, guys. Who's the other one? That was even before her, the blonde one.
Ashley Bynes.
That's her. So it was before that, and we thought like this is going to take over the world. It didn't.
Failed miserably.
But what we learned was it was a really good client management tool.
Yeah.
So that allowed us again to extend our reach with the mentorship, to bring people on and be like, hey, everything's done for you.
Yeah.
All the programming, all the nutrition, all the systems, all the back end, everything's done for you. You can just come on and just not have to worry about that shit when you're still trying to figure out how to fucking train people. Making sales and training people is hard enough.
Yeah. No, I was pretty I was very confident with the way it was set up, just because I knew that like if I had that when I started, it would have fast tracked where I was or where I could have been. You know, and we were seeing that. Like you were seeing people get accelerated development because that's what it was designed to do. It's like we've made all the mistakes, we fucked up, and we've had all these really hard times. It's like you don't have to do that. Yeah. And you can just hone in on the stuff that you should be really good at, which is like coaching people, having conversations, having consults, obviously making sales and stuff like that. So I know that there were countless times when it was 5 o'clock in the morning, 5:30 in the morning. I was tired and shit, and it was like I want to quit. I want to quit. Like, this is shit. And it's like the only reason why I didn't is because I really enjoyed being a personal trainer, and I enjoyed what that allowed me to do and help people and stuff like that. So I know that there's other people out there that probably aren't going to like it as much as me. Aren't going to probably push through to the degrees that I did, where it was really hard, and they're probably going to walk away. And there's probably too many good people leaving the industry because of that. And we can definitely be an influencer on keeping majority of those people in. They just need to put their effort in the right place. Because everyone, I feel like most people get in for the right reasons. Like I think you scrap the government funding now. It's like you remove the people that I did footy when I was 18 and now I'm 40.
Did footy. That's my favorite thing ever.
And it's like, okay, so you want to be like a personal trainer now because you did footy. It's got nothing to do with it. But you remove those people out, there's other people coming with good intentions now, because you're not going to go and get a job, study for that long. I feel like if you're not kind of passionate, it's half passionate about helping others and doing it through fitness. So there's probably good people in there even that we haven't been able to kind of reach that have come and gone and probably won't come back, just because once you get burnt, like you won't kind of dip back in again. So that I was pretty confident. It was just huge development, a huge journey in terms of development, like obviously like communicating, developing systems,
educating,
and even just like evolving it as well. It's like, everything's an evolution. So it's just like evolution 1, evolution 2. So you're just constantly having to stay ahead of the game and make the thing better as well.
There's so much value in those level up Fridays that we used to do. It was like a face-to-face little seminar, I guess, for our in-house group.
Yeah.
It was really, really fun. And like, it was a really, really successful program.
Yeah.
Like I think at one point as a group, you and I included, I think we were like 350, even 400 sessions.
Yeah.
Before COVID, which was pretty crazy.
It was humming along.
Yeah, which is really cool. Obviously, no face-to-face training for 2 years kind of slowed it down a little bit.
Yeah, that'll do it.
But yeah, really valuable. And we had like some pretty, even looking at like the people we've worked with and looking out into the industry now, like Amy Louise is killing it. Kate's just gone, and I think she's doing like business stuff as well now. And obviously got a waiting list and killing it with their results. And like Nat, who's just moved on again, 40 clients waiting
doing
list,
well.
all doing really well. So it's cool to see. And Tam was an OG from the mentorship who decided that media was better than personal training, which I don't disagree with. He gets to just hang out back there.
That's a pretty good job.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a really cool. We should mention, I guess, Mason, who's working with Lionstone, and Mark, who's at, I think
Aries?
he's
Is he
part
at Aries
owner
now?
at Aries. Yeah, I believe.
Yeah, awesome.
Well, he was. I don't know.
Yeah.
Because I think they moved buildings. So yeah, I
Not
don't
sure.
know, pre-COVID and
Yeah.
stuff, but I think he's still there. And part owner. So that, again, going over and open a facility.
Yeah, it's sick.
That's pretty fucking cool. So yeah, it's awesome. Like you said, there's a few that slipped through the cracks that we wish we probably could have helped more. But when you see people apply the system and get that kind of exceptional kind of results, like we probably got half a dozen people that hit 40 sessions in their first 12 weeks. Fucking
it works.
insane.
It works if you do the work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So then from there, obviously we took what we'd learnt in that. So this whole time, guys, like we were still coaching people too. I think that stayed at the core of what we want to do. And like we spoke, the episode where I got back, I was like going away sort of reignited that I want to coach people kind of thing. You put up a poster in the week, like did a session on the weekend with a client, like, fuck, I really want to do more of this.
It's just wasted. I know other people say, oh, you can help other people by helping other coaches who help other people, but it's like, fuck, man, like as soon as it's just like, it just feels like wasted talent.
Lights you up, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
I think it's the capacity that you have to get right.
Yeah, it's the dosage.
Yeah.
So, yeah, then we moved into, obviously, we just introduced, I think, the Coaches Academy, as it was called at the time, as we hit lockdowns, like just before that, maybe kind of 6 to 12 months.
Yeah, probably 6 months, I'd say. Yeah.
So that was our, like, let's move out into the public space. People don't have to work for us or under us.
Yeah.
They will just teach
Educate
other people who was more targeted at people who are already working.
Yeah.
So it was like, let's fix the shit and educate you and allow you to not have to leave when you get your mortgage and that kind of stuff, which evolved into what's now the Coaches Collective.
Yeah.
So I did have a few questions that I wrote down. What would you say your top 3 career highlights have been?
Helping a client avoid surgery from a condition that they said the only option was. So that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Helping a client who was in remission from cancer lose 50 kilos because her doctors said if she lost weight, that would decrease the likelihood of the cancer coming back.
Yep.
And then every single client that I coach that gets to the stage.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yep.
It's hard to do and obviously very rewarding for me who works in that space.
Yep.
Yeah.
Anything on the mentor coaching side?
From a mentoring perspective, I think highlights would just be the outcomes that the coaches got. Yeah. Like seeing them win the 12-week challenges, not compromising people's health and just like hitting their landmarks, being able to buy cars, being able to move out. Like, I don't know if there's any 3 things where it's like this, like these are the one things, but it was like as a whole, it was like just seeing them get to, even like, I hit 100K and it's like, oh, you did that in like fucking 3 years, and it took me like 8,
Yeah.
or 7, to do it, and for it to be consistent, like.
Yeah.
It was like, 1 week you're eating fucking filet mignon, and the next week you're eating baked beans and tuna, like, because you don't, we never got taught business, where it's like for them, it's like, fuck, this is like, repeatable and built off such a solid foundation. So I think that was probably.
And once that was set up to like really 40 sessions or whatever, 45 sessions, it was like literally 25, 30 hours a week.
Yeah.
That were kind of generating that.
Yeah, even like seeing them take, I'm going to stop working this day and stuff. I'm like, oh, fuck.
Yeah.
It's like, I wish I could have done that 5 years in. I feel like, things would have been different kind of, so, yeah.
Yeah, I would say one that stands out to me was one of the charity days we ran.
Yeah.
And it was when we were kind of pumping with like those 350 kind of sessions a week. And it wasn't just like because the first one that we ran was terrible.
Yeah.
The second one we ran it really well, but the quality was okay.
Yeah.
And then iteration. I think it was maybe the fifth one that we filled a whole gym with spectators and clients. Everyone was there in STCfit gear. It was orange flashes all around the place. Coaches, we MC'd. I think it was the first time we MC'd. The environment was fucking unreal. And it was like every single person that went under the bar moved well.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is fucking cool.
Yeah.
Like to go to this scale and the quality control still be so high. I was like, this is when you say like, oh, you can affect more people by helping other coaches. That was a moment for me that it was like, this is fucking.
It was an epic day.
Yeah. So that would be one. There's heaps of like coaching outcomes. I think like one that always stands out, and it's happened probably half a dozen times, if not more now, is like working with people through fat loss and body composition change who then fall pregnant.
Yeah.
And it's like the drastic physical change that you've been through and you're still in a great healthy position to facilitate that. Like that's always really rewarding.
Yeah.
And then a couple of people who had been trying for a really long time that like after 6 months of kind of getting everything in, it's like, oh, the health markers are in place now. And then all of a sudden it's like, bam, like, fuck, that's really cool.
Yeah, definitely.
And then third one would probably be, I'll encapsulate it as a whole because there's no one event, but like the birth of the powerlifting team was cool. Like I think it was the Melbourne Open that we did was probably, I think that was the launch of the team and we had a big squad there. I did a comp previously with just my guys, but then we went with a team, which was cool. And then obviously like for myself overseeing all of those preps and stuff and being behind the scenes but involved and watching the progress and stuff was really rewarding.
Super.
And then like obviously taking two of the guys to nationals and walking into Ruchi's gym and stuff, I was like, this is pretty cool.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. So they're probably the three that stand out. Lowlights, any that stand out?
5:30 in the morning.
No shows.
3 days off in 3 months. Just tired as a motherfucker.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's that was when I actually wanted to quit. And my wife now, my girlfriend at the time, told me not to. So
Yeah.
power to her.
Yeah.
The first time you lose 12 sessions in a week.
The first time, guys. The first time, because it fucking happens.
Yeah. So yeah, that's that was obviously. I think that happened to me when Steph and I got engaged as well.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh,
That's
cool.
bad timing.
I've got to pay for a wedding and just lost 4 clients.
Yeah.
And then obviously just that first part of the pandemic.
Yeah.
The first part of the gym closures and stuff. It's a very rough time.
Definitely.
So, transition and stuff. So
yeah.
That would be it, I reckon.
Yeah. I can remember a day we were actually pumping, but we'd had a couple of hiccups. I think like a couple of like the busier trainers had left. We were stretched so thin because we just didn't have systems in place the way that we do now. We didn't have the technology, to be honest.
Yeah.
There wasn't Mighty Networks, Teachable, whatever to deliver. Zoom wasn't normal. Like we didn't have the tech available to do things the way we do them now. We had that stupid fucking course that we agreed to present and then realized we were just getting fucked and the whole thing was basically illegal. And I got home one day and I was just like, exhausted. Like, this was get up early, do PT, work during the day, work into the night, literally just do that and sleep, and then still be on your phone all weekend as well, because we didn't have boundaries with who we worked with.
Yeah.
And I remember, I don't know if it would, when it had fallen through yet. I think it was just like there was huge warning signs. Then I was fucking broke down in my car, like, I can't do this anymore. This is just way, way too much. I can't survive like this anymore. So it's probably a good thing that course ended up falling apart. But yeah, that was definitely a low light, just like not putting in the boundaries and respecting my own time probably enough.
Yeah, that's disappointing.
It's out of order. So there's that. I guess like having people that we've developed for a long time, obviously exit, it always hurts.
Yeah.
You don't hold resentment about it, and like you wish them luck, but it's always like a bit of an ouch. What else? Going to Essendon actually was a bit of my first 6 months at Windy Hill. It was pretty rough.
Yeah,
because it was a very humbling experience, if we put it like that. It was like I walked out of Good Life Point Cook thinking I was pretty fucking good, and got there and I was like, what the hell? Like, I'm no reputation here. No one wants personal training. All this stuff that I'm teaching other people, like, it's really hard here. That was a big, like, fuck. It was a tough period to get through, but yeah, they're all lessons in the end.
Yeah.
What are you most excited about for the future of the fitness industry? Let's bring the mood back up. Because it got dark there.
That's huge. That's a big question. Most excited about for the fitness industry as a whole?
Yeah. Well, you can do like, what are you most excited about for yourself and your career? And the industry as well, I think is interesting.
I'm most excited about getting into a position to have our own spot.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Like that's the goal. It's always been the goal since I was like 16. So
yeah,
just like make sure the timing's right to do that, and then I think that carries over to like, you know, just improving the quality of the information and providing more opportunities to educate, because like, you know, everyone's educating to a degree, so it's just providing another opportunity for those people coming in or that are already here to, you know, absorb stuff.
Yeah.
So I think that's probably it.
Yeah. Industry wise?
Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, look, I don't know. In terms of the industry, like,
do you think it's going to get better?
It always
gets or different?
No, it's always going to get better because we have so many mediums to deliver good information. Like, that was part of the reason why I didn't really get the results that I probably could have gotten when I was training as a young child. Because we used to just print things out on an inkjet printer off a website that took me like 30 minutes to load up. And you didn't know if it was good or not, and you were just listening to like hearsay from like the biggest dudes in the gym. So I think that like the evolution of that is that technology's allowed us to have all these mediums, and everyone's got like, pros and cons. Like, you know, the wrong people have a microphone, whatever. It's on you guys to obviously, like, you know, decipher whether that person's legit or not. So I think that's just going to continue to improve, you know. So yeah, like, I can see it getting better.
Yeah.
Can't see it getting worse, to be honest.
Do you have any concerns based on like TikTok or this, like, because I think there's always camps and there's always fashion trends within fitness. So like the biggest news this week in at least Australian personal training is like the fuck optimal versus the optimal group, and like that kind of bullshit. Back in the day, it was Poliquin versus everyone else.
Yeah.
Poliquin versus Norton and all of that. Like, there's always something. Do you have concerns for the future? Like, say TikTok, for example, like this fucking soundbite where you're trying to communicate a message in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
Do you see it going backwards at any point, or anything that could fuck it?
I think if you keep up with, you know, where things are and where things need to be, you'd be fine.
Yeah.
Yeah. I can't see it going backwards. And I think that, like, again, having lots of mediums and having lots of, you know, I guess, groups within the fitness industry is part of the reason why these debates happen.
Yeah.
It's like this person's obviously trying to send a message to this amount of people, and this person that's not trying to get optimal is probably not going to work out. So you guys are just banging heads about shit that, like, you know, if two different groups got together, they would just pick their sides and be happy.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, I don't see it as an issue. I think that, you know, debates are fun and good to have, and there's going to be conflicting information. I just think that you need to make sure you cross-reference, you know, what you guys think is right and wrong. And I think that there's going to get to a point where, like, you know, we're not going to be able to deliver good information in a short period of time.
Yeah.
You know, like, we're going to get to a point where, like, people are actually going to have to pay attention for a little bit longer. Like, if you take your training seriously, I think you will as well.
Yeah.
So if you work with people, like, maybe it is like, oh, just do this, like, instead of this, whatever. Like, you know, that captures someone's attention. But if it's like, you want to take your training seriously, like, you've got to pay a little bit more attention. So
yeah, the resurgence of YouTube and podcasts has been not a resurgence of podcasting. Like, that's probably at its peak. Everyone seems to have a microphone now.
Yeah. Everything comes in circles. We'll make our way back around to long form content.
Well, I think YouTube is probably in the last
TikTok just
people left Instagram during the pandemic and went to
because they had the time
TikTok because it was more entertaining and faster.
Yeah, fuck, it's
and less. I find, at least when using TikTok, it's less political, less soul sucking. If that's like, if I get
no value out of TikTok.
Yeah, okay, yeah,
because it's too
my
short.
whole feed's like comedians. So
it's too short for me.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm getting nothing from it.
Yeah. But on the flip side of that is, like, I tune into, like, the Flagrant podcast every week, and I watch other shit on YouTube all the time.
Yeah, well, I live on YouTube.
Yeah, it's like I don't even watch Netflix shows anymore. I just hang out on YouTube. So
and I like minute content, not 15-second too. Like, it's just, but everyone's got their preference.
Yeah, I watch hours. Like, if it's below 30 minutes, I don't put it on, because then I have to think about what the next thing is.
Yeah, well, and that's the beauty of it. And we'll come around again. It's like, oh, remember when we used to just do like 15 seconds of fitness advice? Like, it's fucking stupid. Like, things will just come and go. And I think that if you stay on top of that, you'll be fine.
Yeah. So as a coach, obviously, it's just being where your clients are at the time. Yeah. Cool. All right. So hopefully that gives a little bit of an insight as to our journey as we've developed here.
The start. The origins.
Who are you? 11? You 11 years?
I started when I was 21, so I'm 34.
Yep. I'm just trying to do the math for myself. So I'm not sure if I'm 10 years in November or 11 years in November.
You say whatever you like. No one really knows.
Yeah.
10 sounds better.
10's just easy. It's like, I've been in the industry 10 years.
Yeah.
Flex.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool. So tune into the next episode, which we're going to talk about less about us and more about you and how you can set up your first year to be successful as a personal trainer.
Yeah.
And I guess fill all the gaps that are missing from the Cert 4.
Yeah.
And it's not about ragging on the Cert 4. It's like every education. We just talked for 15 minutes about how a 4-year degree had limitations.
Yeah.
So, like, your 6-month PT course is going to have limitations.
Yeah.
So it's not about, I guess, wallowing in the limitations. It's about how do we go about filling those gaps and making sure you're successful at the end. Screenshot, share, like, subscribe, 5-star rating at STCfit _learning, STCfitlearning.com. And that is us.
Thank you for tuning in.
Ciao.
Thanks for tuning into the episode. Don't forget to like it if you liked it, and subscribe if you loved it, and share it with somebody who you think needs to hear it. Don't forget also to head to the website for all our free resources, products, services, and merch. All right, see you next time.